Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. Let's talk about Bitcoin, of course. And obviously, if you like this content, smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section. So we saw inflation rise at a 4% annual rate. Consensus estimates were at 4.1%, so it came in below expectations. That is a good thing in terms of what the US government wants to tell us our inflation rate is. We know it's much higher than that, but we can dance the dance just like everyone else. And so, all right, inflation rose 4%. Apparently, we have a double, what do you want to call it? There's two major things happening this week in my books. One is what happened already this morning, the CPI report. And then second is the Fed. The Fed is meeting tomorrow and they will release their minutes. And so as of right now, we have a 92.5% chance that the Fed is going to pause. That is what is, even though Bitcoin is not doing well, but looking at the stock market's actually doing pretty well. This is not priced in, or sorry, it is priced into the market, I believe. And so 92.5% chance of a pause. I really don't think if they increase rates another 25 basis points, that's going to have a huge effect over the next month, but 92.5% chance of a pause. And so looking at CPI and Bitcoin, a lot of these rises that we've seen over this year have been after the CPI report has come out. And so we saw this final move up, that leg up to $31,000. That was right after, in response to the CPI report coming out. We saw this move up, breaking through that critical $25,200 level. That was right after the CPI report came out. And one of these times, I believe it was right here, February of 2023, February this year, right after the CPI report came out. We saw a little bit of a bounce last month when the CPI report came out. As of right now, we are seeing pretty much no reaction. We've got a spinning top doji on the daily candle. I'm not quite buying a negative reaction to a 4% CPI report. I think we're going to wait until tomorrow and see what happens. And so I can tell you for this week in particular, only for this week, I am bullish. I would say the absolute best case scenario is, I'm not expecting anything explosive. And I mean, my goodness, look at that volume. Look at the volume. Wow. All right. Look, the volume is too low. We're just kind of in this stagnant mode. Again, my hope, best case scenario, we ride the 20-week SMA, the 21-week EMA. We get back above the 200-week simple moving average, which we are below. We had a weekly close below, but I care about the monthly candle. I care very much about the monthly candle on that 200-week simple moving average. Hopefully we get to that point. We get beyond there, above it at the monthly close. But for the most part, as far as I'm concerned, the name of the game is the range, okay? And so I cleaned out all the other lines. I mean, they're still here. They're just hidden right now. But every other line as of right now is irrelevant. What I want to pay attention to is the range. And I believe this is our range. This is our range. This bottom range here is our range on the daily chart. The top range from the top to the very bottom here is our range on the weekly chart. I would expect that we are going to stay within this range for quite a while. We need to see things pick up with the volume. We need to not only see things pick up with the volume, but we just need something. We need some kind of catalyst or something, a big whale coming in and buying billions of dollars, maybe not billions, but maybe 9 figures worth of Bitcoin. We need something to wake us up. Just like, here in January, we saw just this sudden move. It was due, but that was after weeks of stagnant price moves in Bitcoin. I mean, especially if you want to count from June, that was half a year of just Bitcoin staying flat. And something similar could be happening right now. If we want to be generous and count from March, we are about halfway through. We could be until September, just hanging out in this range. But I'm thinking this right now in particular because of what happened last week with the SEC. If you've been sleeping under a rock, living under a rock, whatever you want to call it, the SEC came out with a case against Binance and against Coinbase. They are just straight up crypto is straight up under attack right now from the SEC. This is in the long run extremely bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum because they have declared Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities, but everything else is a security. Eventually, this is going to be extremely bullish for Bitcoin that the SEC is not quite going after Bitcoin or Ethereum, but going after these major institutions within the crypto sphere. Yeah, that's going to have a short-term negative effect. But this reminds me very much of all of the drama that caused us to enter this phase of stagnation. You know, we saw the Luna collapse, we saw Celsius and BlockFi and all that. We saw FTX, the last domino of that collapse, and then we just were stagnant for months. And so now we're seeing the SEC come after Binance, come after Coinbase, and I could see that just this stagnancy remaining for months. And again, best case scenario, we ride the bull market support band, get back above the 200-day simple moving average, 200-week simple moving average, excuse me. But I'm paying very close attention right now. If we lose this range right here, if we lose the bottom of this range, if we lose the bull market support band, I believe we are going back under $20,000. Now, I do want to say, I think we're going to hold the range, but, and I do believe we have one more leg up this year. That $31,000 was not the peak for 2023. But we lose that range, I'm throwing all of that out the window. I want to tell you that right now, 31,000 was the peak. And so we're at a very critical point right now. I believe we hold. I believe they're just given how much negativity there is right now that too many people are expecting, in my opinion, Bitcoin to lose the range. And maybe they're right. They could be right. But until we lose the range, I am saying we're holding the range. Okay. One big thing that I want to talk about, I've talked about this before. I just want to say it again. All right. I mentioned already that the Fed is most likely going to pause tomorrow. They're going to announce that they're pausing, a 92.5% chance of that happening, according to the CME group. And so, we've been waiting for this for quite a while now, for well over a year. But I want to point out again that this isn't necessarily a bullish thing. Yeah, we could have some short-term bullish movements as a result. And I'm not just talking about Bitcoin or crypto in general right now. I'm just talking about the overall markets where people put their money in. We could have a short-term move up, but we have always historically had a recession at some point after a pause or pivot. And so it's been a while since I've talked about this, but if you look over the last, 70 years, 75 years, Fed raises rates, and then we get to, oh no, I did not mean to do that. Let me hit the refresh page here. But Fed raises rates, and then they pause. When they pause, it is usually because they are expecting a recession soon. And so you can see 1957, 1959, they paused right before the recession, raised rates, pause. 1969, what happens right after that recession? Pause. 1973, right after that recession, but then they raised rates, but then boom, big time, they lowered it in light of just all the insanity happening in the mid 70s. 1980, we saw rates at their highest levels that we have seen over these last 80 years. And then when did they lower rates? When they start lowering rates, they didn't even pause this time, as soon as we entered a recession. But you can even see, let's go to COVID here, raising rates, pause in July of 2000. And then we entered a recession in 2001. And then the big one, the financial crisis in 2008, we started pausing in the middle of 2006. So, hey, middle of 2006, that was 2 years before the recession. Maybe something similar is going to happen this time around. No. I highly doubt it, because what we did in response to the financial crisis was that is when we really turned on the money printers. Quantitative easing that started in 2008. So we are seeing now, we can also talk about the COVID crash. We were going to enter a recession. We had a very brief recession because money printer went burr, in 2000, but here we were at 0% for a long time. And then we aggressively raised rates more aggressively. Man, looking at this chart, I keep saying more aggressively than ever before, but maybe not quite. But here we are, May of 2023, June of 2023, we are going to pause most likely. I don't think we're going to have 2 years like what we had in 2006. before we enter a recession and before we see a major crash. I think it's going to be less than a year. And so, all right, you know what? Let's celebrate. We pause. We see some short-term movement in an upward direction, which is why this week in general, I am kind of bullish for scalps, for trades. Sure. Yeah. Maybe we can get to the top of the daily range here at $28,000 over the next few weeks. Maybe. But I am paying very close attention to this just to see when, especially when we start lowering rates, because you can see August of 2007, we started lowering rates again. And so maybe that's what happens. That's a signal that that's when it's time to get out. Because I believe that no matter what, there will be a time to get out before the money printer goes burr again. All right, so maybe that's it. Maybe you see, as soon as you see the Fed start lowering rates, exit, run, wait for the crash, and then get in. Will we see Bitcoin under $20,000 again? I think most people would say yes. And yeah, I am one of those people as well. But I think we'll see Bitcoin above 30,000 first. So that's going to be a while. It's going to be a little bit before we would see something like that happen again. But those are my thoughts. Until we deviate from the range, that's when we're going to be preaching over the next few weeks. Buy when you see Bitcoin at the bottom of the range. Sell when you see it at the top, for your trades at least. But that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.